Space, the final frontier.
Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things going so right.
Let's see what's out there. Engage.
Hello and good evening. Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 1, Episode 8, Justice is over, and it has been since 1987. But we're just getting started here for this Tuesday, July 9th, 2024. Some, 30-something years later to review this episode as we continue our mission to watch every episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, talk about it, and review it, which we'll be doing for the next hour. This is a live stream here on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch. I'm Dave Mader, and we got a great panel here to break it all down. First up, we got the incredulous Kevin Millard.
Hello, Dave.
Hello. Do you seek justice, Kevin?
I seek Jamaharon. I feel like you can get that on this
That might be more fitting. Up next, we got the world mind himself, the man who will run anywhere. Maybe not.
Of course I can run.
Of course you can run. Of course you can. It's Chris Murphy.
How are y'all now? This is possibly the horniest episode of Star Trek.
Wait till Ryza. Okay. And last but not least, of course, we have the locutor himself on loan to us from X-Rated, as they are on hiatus tonight as they did it on Monday night. It's Davin Skellhorn.
Yep, just a simple flesh and blood form. I'm just going to keep on doing buttons.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how far it goes.
Whoa, it turned out the sexy there. Okay.
Yeah.
We can only do so much. Spoilers ahoy. Of course, we'll be talking all about Justice for the next hour or so until we get into the ratings.
I do have a question for you guys.
Well, please.
What's about this long and about this thick?
Oh, I don't know.
A really
A baseball
good branch.
bat.
I must have not
About
been paying
this
attention
long,
to the episode.
this thick.
Yeah. Your eyes. This screams Gene Roddenberry.
He screamed this on top of a mountain, Sam.
Yeah.
For all to hear. Who wrote this?
Good question. I don't think he wrote it.
He didn't get to write anything, I don't think.
Story by Worley Thorne and Ralph Willis.
Okay.
With the teleplay by Ralph or Worley Thorne. Sorry, who's Worley Thorne?
Worley Thorne is an old school Hollywood name, though, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
Worley Thorne probably wrote for the Honeymooners. Like,
Worley Thorne probably wrote for a few B movies. And probably a few porn movies.
He wrote for Charlie's Angels, Swiss
There you
Family
go.
Robinson, other things like The Life and Times of Grizzly Adams, Biotic
that was a
Woman.
big hit.
Yeah. So I'll break that down. Guys, let's talk about this one. Does it give you TOS vibes, those old scientist vibes?
A little bit. I mean, it's
bit,
that
yeah.
kind of.
It's kind of its own kind of
that
bad.
ham-fisted story. Like, it's not super complex. It's a bunch of stuff that shouldn't have happened at all. Like,
Right.
It's also interesting to have an episode about the Prime Directive take place while they're visiting a pre-warp species.
Well, yes. Like, so Kevin, you were here for the review of Code of Honor. And while we won't get into the specifics of that episode tonight, you had said, like, are these people even like post warp? And I said, well, they have transporters and they seem like they do have some future, like some technologies, but I would say that the Edo seem even less advanced. And but the Enterprise made
What are
first
they doing
contact
there?
with them? Yeah, why did the Enterprise make first contact?
And the whole episode is about them not breaking the Prime Directive after they've broken the Prime Directive. It's like, what is... Yeah, like, this episode, or this season so far, is not doing very good world building. And it's not... And they keep reusing the, like, god-like entity thing. Like this space station entity thing just could have been called Nagilum or something. Like, it's all like just this... Or Q, or they just keep doing the same thing over and over again, or Giant Green Hand from TOS.
Roddenberry was on so much meth and he was close to death. All he could see was God. He had to like translate that into his show.
Famous atheist Gene Roddenberry, also a meth head. You're alleged. Anyway, well, Chris, what did you think of this episode?
I mean, it was there were a lot of arms and legs and like very skimpy, very revealing, terrible outfits. Like the moderator's outfit was just like the oddest choice I've ever seen for enforcement. Like,
are you talking about the what were they called? The arbitrators or something like that?
No,
right?
I think
the police
called mediators.
Mediators.
Yeah.
They had gray ones.
They had little gray tunics that were like cut like by a 3-year-old. It was in their delivery of lines was just awful. There's a lot of weird bad choices, and then of course like the biggest thing is just like Wesley being there, and they're like, children, go hang out with Wesley, and these children are clearly like 35 years old, except maybe the girl's like 24 at best. It was like, these are not children. These are just very short adults.
They were all way
she's
too
like,
old
play a
for
game with
Mario.
me, Wesley. You know, there's some games I haven't learned yet.
Things about balls. Do you want to play with balls?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, they did bring the kid down to the hedonistic planet. But whatever. Kevin, have we talked to you about this yet? I feel like
I think so, yeah.
Okay. I'm going to tell you guys, I like this episode, and I think it's pretty good. I
think it's the best one of the season so far.
I think that it's got some complex moral issues. I think it's got a new alien culture that's interesting and different. It's got some good intercharacter development. Tasha Yar, once again, proves herself to be a very bad chief of security.
Question for you guys in that regard. Like, if Denise Crosby hadn't left the show for wanting to pursue movies and stuff, like, Yar would have had to have been off the Enterprise anyway, right? Like, they had to shuffle Yar out the door. Like, this is the flagship, and she's not good at her job most of the time.
Yeah. I feel like she would have got a recommendation similar to what Barclay's former commanding officer gave to him before he went to the Enterprise. Like, you'll love Tasha Yar.
She would have been guarding outpost scientists before you know it.
Yeah, like, I think, not the, like, they don't write her best. Like, she's like, I thought you reviewed the laws. She's like, yeah, but nothing about the punishments. That might have been a good question to ask.
She read "Don't step on the flowers." She's like, well, that seems fine.
Well, yeah. No crime here. Why would they have punishment? Whatever reason, no crime whatsoever. Not
another question for you
why
guys.
There's no crime.
Another question for you guys. Don't you think, like, if you're this ultra, like, law-abiding kind of society, where, like, law is the ultimate part of your society, don't you think this rotating punishment section thing they have going on, like punishment zones, kind of, like, delegitimizes all of that? It's just like, so it's like, you have to make sure you're obeying the law in one of these punishment zones, but, like, what about when you're not in one of the punishment zones? Like, doesn't it kind of encourage a bit of misbehavior, or, like, delegitimize this, like, certainty of the law kind of thing? Like, shouldn't punishment be across the board? Like, shouldn't it be like, no matter when you step on the flowers, you die?
Listen, if you stick your finger in someone's butt outside of the white zone, it's legal. But if you stick your finger inside someone's butt inside of the white zone, well, then you're going to die.
They only want to
very
have
simple judgment.
just these two mediators. That's all. That's all they want. So they got to have it rotating.
I actually think they're okay with that all the time
They're
on
on
this planet,
shift work.
Murphy. So I don't think there's a law against the butt thing on this planet.
No,
I think the
there is
idea-
definitely no law against.
That's the thing. That's the thing. You can step on a flower outside the white zone. You can't step inside the flower in the white zone. So
Yeah, but
basically,
doesn't that delegitimize everything? Like, aren't they just
No, it
full of
doesn't.
shit, kinda?
what I'm
We
saying
actually-
here.
We actually get an answer in the episode because in the time between when Wesley jumps into the flowers and the time where they stop them from killing him,
Yeah,
they have changed the zone.
yeah.
And the guy says, "You guys are lucky."
But isn't that
Changed the zone
stupid?
just now.
Dumb as shit, though. Like, holy crap.
Well, it's not for us to judge their system of justice, and
Well, I'm here to stand up for the flowers. I'll tell you that, fellas.
So you
They
think
shouldn't
Wesley
have been trampled.
should have got it?
Oh, I think punishment was warranted. Those were some
Yeah.
fine-looking flowers, and he just jumped right all in there.
Listen, whatever happened to a good bullwhip?
Look, if you watched the last Debate 9, Heather Narduzzi was pretty clear. You fall in the flowers?
She was all for it. Now that she was assigned that side of the argument, but
She was convincing.
she was.
But she won.
She's like, rules the rules. And that's
Yeah,
how it
rules are
goes.
rules. You
Yeah.
kill the kid.
No shenanigans on this planet.
No. Except if you're out of the punishment zone.
Except if you're out of the punishment zone. So what? Okay, guys, let's jump into the episode itself proper. See what else we may have missed. So we start off in the cold open with the Enterprise around this planet, saying they've just established a new colony, and then they've come to some new planet to check it out. It's kind of a captain's log. Dr. Crusher comes to the bridge to say, "Hey, we should have a shore leave because the crew's very tired from setting up that other colony, for the last little while." And that
Whoa, is
everyone's
this
been
true?
Yes.
Yes.
Really? That's
Yeah.
interesting. Lysian Central Command, they end up naming that.
Well, it's just they reuse the thing. It's not meant to be these. It's not meant to be.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were hoping we forgot. But when we kind of did. But then we're reminded. Anyway,
Like
so
when we forgot about the time that Klingon bird of prey blew up.
exactly. And then Breaker and the away team come back to the bridge here, and they say this planet is, they're physically identical to humans. They're very fit and active, and it's
Very toit.
it's very very
Like a
toy.
toiga.
I think
Can I just say that throughout this whole episode, Jonathan Frakes' smile, like his face, deserves an Emmy. Like you're like Riker is like so into this planet.
But it was probably real. That was probably
It
just
totally
Jonathan
is.
Frakes smiling. That wasn't
Yeah.
acting.
No.
You don't get an Emmy for just being happy and horny.
It's consistent with
So many butts on this planet.
it's
so
consistent
many
with Riker's
butts.
character too. Like Riker
Yeah.
loves he loves the Rysians, and the Edo are very much like the Rysians, right? So they're all for that.
They make love.
Except a little bit
Drop of a hat.
simple-minded. Like they're a bit simple because they're
So
sort
many
of like
hats were
taken
dropped.
care of by this entity, I guess. But they're a bit kind of simple-minded, whereas Rysians aren't. Rysians are pretty smart.
Well, they're not identical cultures, but they have
No,
what they have in common is sex.
If it wasn't for their strict laws, though, it would be like another Ryza. In the people would be
Riker
going there
came
all
back
the
to
time.
this ship. Riker came back to this ship with the glow of a man that's busted several nuts.
But then at the end of the cold open, Picard says, "Okay, well, we're all going to go down to the nice, fun planet.
Let's just hope it's not too good to be true.
Not too good to be true." And that's, of course, it will be now. With that,
I hear the
that's-
women are very handsome, number one.
Yeah. Send me down.
chest hair.
So we got our title card for the episode, Justice. And okay, now we're down to the planet, which looks very much like the Presidio in San Francisco. Very, very much like Starfleet Academy. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's almost
Booth- I
like
could
this,
see
this
Boothby
alien
tending those
culture is
shrubs.
the oranges of Starfleet's apples.
Actually, isn't there a Boothby scene in this location?
Yes. Well, they later use this for a bunch of Starfleet Academy scenes, the same place. But here it's a
Those
different
were
planet.
Boothby's flowers that Wesley crushed.
Boothby would be like off with his head. Is what
They just filter in some tulips during the Boothby scene.
we see. The people are kissing and snogging. And we see their outfits. Jamaharon as they beam down to this planet and are greeted by these two Edo who will sort of be like the main Edo we'll deal with in this episode, whose names escape me at this moment.
Know that Worf is like, watch out!
Watch out! They're coming for us! Naked people!
Just call them like camel toe and camel nuts. I don't know.
All the other Edo men are like pretty ripped, but except for this guy who doesn't quite suit this outfit, but I guess he was the best actor they could get. So
Was he?
I don't know.
They couldn't find a musclehead that was a better one.
We see that they basically wear like these little sandals that are skin colored. But yeah, these are a lot of skin here. Like they almost basically wear bathing suits permanently.
She's very fit. She's got like gymnast legs. She could probably do a backflip.
Yes, I agree. Their hugging seems to be a form of.
And
breathing
Riker
here.
fits right in, right? Like
He's just
yeah.
Really though, look at him. He's like biting her ear off.
yeah. He's embracing
we're
the
familiar.
culture, Davin.
Well, it's not just the men. The ladies also get the greetings here from Buddy. Although Troy's less into it.
She's like, I
Well,
can
it's
tell
that
you
guy.
slept
It's
with
because look at
Riker.
him.
Yeah.
That
She
guy's
can
not the
tell he
coolest
slept with
customer.
Riker.
But don't worry, Tasha Yar is into it. She's
It's one of her hats that she dropped.
she's dropping the hat. Oh yes. And then even Worf, says it's a pretty good planet here.
Hello, fragile woman.
Hello. Where's my Worf quote when I need it? Let's see. Swore I pulled one where he's like, "Nice planet."
Smile. Riker.
Yeah. And then this one, she looks at Wesley, not quite sure what to make. She's like, "Oh, you're a young one. This is weird." And she kind of gives him an awkward hug, but she's like, "Why'd you bring a kid?"
He is the face of a 14-year-old trying to hide a boner in his pants the whole time. He doesn't look
Contrast between this
comfortable
planet
ever.
and Code of Honor planet is especially a bad look. Yeah, it's true.
What's that?
The contrast between this planet and the Code of Honor planet is especially
Yeah,
bad look.
one planet's all black people, one planet's all white people.
Yeah.
Basically. And nobody has makeup.
Nice
But
planet.
that also comes from like the tradition of like alien representation, where they like humans all look different, but like whenever you meet an alien species in sci-fi, even going from way back, they all just look the same. There's the gray aliens that all look the same, or the green aliens that all look the same. It's like,
Yeah, but this planet seems particularly Aryan.
oh, I agree. I'm just saying, like
With the fact
the
that
idea
he
of an
pulled
alien
right in,
species
too.
all looking the same is not very uncommon.
Well, we don't know how big this planet is. This could just be the part of the planet where all the white people are from. I don't
Oh,
know.
the Aryans don't let the brown people in.
We don't even know if they have brown people.
They keep all the brown people in the white zones.
You're kind of assuming that they are multiracial. All right. Well,
Oh my god.
anyway,
This
can we talk-
episode is exactly how it should be. No, let's not resist. Oh, jeez.
Okay. Well, apparently
Nobody
they like to,
resisted in this episode. Sorry.
Are you gonna lead the show? Or are you guys gonna crack jokes the whole time?
He's gonna start cutting our screens like Jody. Jody would have booted us by now.
All right. So let's guys talk about the running.
Of course we can run.
Perhaps they can't run. That's the custom here. Running. Lead the way.
Let's get the run on. The run's on. which I liked. I like a planet of running. This is great. We need more of this.
No, we don't.
Yes, more running. Even Worf's into it.
Mr. Chell, 4 more laps around the cargo bay.
Yes.
You know, this guy's just traveling too. Like, stop while you're stopped. Don't jog in place. This is a mode of transportation.
He's got to get his heart rate
You're
up,
not out
man.
for exercise. Drove
Yeah.
me nuts.
You don't
Oh,
get to
this-
look this.
I
good,
agree with
Joe.
Kevin. If you're gonna at least go somewhere,
You think they would have better shoes if they're a planet of runners, though? Like, these are not good shoes. I'm just gonna put that out.
Some would say running with your bare feet is healthier.
They're wrong. Okay, so then we get to the, I guess, the hall or the main facility here. Then we meet the other children, if we can call them that.
That Wookiee on the right is no child.
strange alien boy, can you teach us how to throw a ball? On this planet, we only fondle them.
Only handballs around here.
So they take Wesley on with them. We'll catch up with them later. Inside of the compound, we got, of course, the string quartet here. These are not good outfits on the men. I'm gonna say, even if you got the body for it. But
Gotta play my violin harp with my violin cello.
yes,
Like, what is that?
I don't know. Lots of oily
Looks like
massage.
the other guy's just playing a sword.
Yeah, it's like a,
He's just
Isn't
playing
it
a
just
sword
Hey,
like this.
hey, they're just discovering music, okay? That's where they're at in their evolution.
What if we just
what kind of
tap the
harmonics does a sword have?
One.
What?
One.
It's like playing the triangle. Ding, ding, ding.
So they go inside of the compound, back on the ship. They've been trying to figure out that there's some kind of sensor ghost there that they can't quite figure out, and they even like move the viewer onto it, and there's nothing there. But Data says there's something up. This is not like a sensor glitch, and he actually hails it in this scene here. He's like, "To the object off our starboard bow, please identify yourself." And then all of a sudden it appears, and the ship goes to red alert, and they got a whole
Say its name and it appears. Sorry.
Yeah, we even have this guy here, backup security guard. He's like, it's there, but it's not there. You know,
Why has everything become a something or a whatever?
everything's a something, a not quite there, or a kind of a disappeared thing.
Well, that's what exploration is all about. You don't immediately know what things are.
What are all these things?
Picard doesn't like it, but he sends Jody down to like the lounge to have a look at it through the window. Go have a real look at it, you know. And he says, "Well, it's kind of there, but it's also not there." You know.
If only we had any technology closely matching your visor, Jordy. on
Yeah,
the ship.
you think that the ship's sensors would be superior to his visor?
Yeah.
You'd think, but maybe not. Anyway, so they're
Get
don't know
a
what to
real
make.
look at it.
The Edo god thing shoots their little ball of energy at them like a scanner thing. We see it moving through the decks and eventually moves its way up to the bridge, where it kind of just hovers there in front of them. Eventually moving right up to Picard, and then it starts to speak. Of course, you know, as God does. It's very loud.
Booming,
Yeah,
shaking voice. Who are you? Turn down your volume.
Yeah, bro. And then it says, you know, they kind of talk a little bit. Like, why did you put the colonists or on the adjacent planet? Why did you do that? Are you going to try to leave people on this planet or take people with you? No. And then this thing, energy ball, ends up interacting with Data and asks him if he was built for information exchange. And then he's like probed, I guess. And he gets this thing takes him unconscious as I guess they continue all of this dialogue. And Picard's like, I think he's got it under control. You know, hopefully he'll be okay.
Data getting roofie and probed in this episode.
He's-
is,
Data's being teabagged right now.
He's got the balls on his head.
and
Back down on the
Space,
planet,
balls on your chin.
the kids are showing off for each
Tries
other.
to teabag himself.
Handstands.
Earl Grey.
And this is, of course, where they say, Wesley starts doing cartwheels. Although,
They are all way too old to be playing like this. Like,
yes. Oh, yeah.
Look what I can do.
It's a black man. These are some handsome white folks I've ever seen. Yeah. And then the girl's like, "Oh, do you play? Can you teach me some games?" And Wesley says, "Are you going to teach me how to bone?" But Wesley's like, "I don't think so.
Look at his face.
I haven't learned some things yet."
Icky.
oh my god.
Cooties.
It's not like he doesn't have a holodeck at his disposal.
It's like, okay, but I'm gonna call you Deanna.
He might have a holodeck at his disposal, but I'm sure there's like child parameter locks on that thing.
Yeah. Okay. So this is where the famous
Yeah,
meme.
but Tasha's the head of security. They can't be that difficult to circumvent.
They call this
Wesley
move the
could-
warp drive.
Wesley could do it. He takes over the ship every other week.
Even Bob drunk.
Tasha's password is just data1.
Data 010110. Okay.
About this long, this thick.
That's what she said.
Yeah, that's what she said. As they continue to go off, I guess they're planning to play baseball. Is that what's happening here?
That sounds like
Just
baseball.
wanted to play a ball game.
Ball game. We see back in the compound, Riker sees them playing some kind of game with silver balls, and they're like, "Join us, you'll enjoy it." He's like, "Maybe another time." Whatever this game was. People making out on the couch. Are they actually having sex in the open in this culture? Is that,
I think so.
That's what we called dry humping back in high school.
or is it just dry humping? I need to know.
I don't know how dry it is considering how thin those fabrics are.
Yeah, Wesley was going way back. He was definitely teaching them stickball.
Riker says to Worf, "Are you going to get into it, man?" And he's like, "Oh, I would need a Klingon woman." But he's like, "What about sex?"
Earthly females. I must restrain myself too much. They are quite fragile.
They're too fragile. Anyone else? Yeah, you'd be boasting, Worf, but I believe you.
It's like, when I tell people that, I'm boasting, Worf.
But then this is when Riker tries to call the ship. And by the way, the communications has been knocked out while the Edo God thing has appeared. So they can't get in communication. Says, "Well, we can't talk to the ship. We better go find Wesley and find what's going on." So Riker and Troy leave, and so Worf goes to talk to Tasha, who's talking to our two main Edo people, and they're like saying, breaking the law. She kind of explains, like, no one would ever break the law because no one would want to be executed. They're like, executed? Oh yeah. They explain their laws, like there's a random zone, and if you break a law, any law, in even an innocent one, like stepping on flowers, which according to David is not an innocent law at all, then
I wouldn't do it.
They're going to be executed. So Tasha and Worf kind of run off, not as fast as they should be on this planet. Everyone's running, but
Really, they should have killed one man for every flower killed. Eye for an eye in these things.
Or petal for a petal.
Petal for a petal.
Yes, as we catch up with Wesley and the young adults or old children.
Now, if they wanted to make this an innocent accident, they should have made the display a little fucking smaller. Like, it's really hard to miss.
Yeah. So the Edo child throws the ball to Wesley. Wesley goes long for a running throw here. And
The point of the 4-inch fence is what? It's like that's what's left of Hadrian's Wall. It's like...
But, a stuntman posing as Wesley goes through this thing.
Clearly an adult falls into the flowers.
Just dives for it.
Oh,
This is-
Look at this guy. He's like 50.
This is not Will Wheaton, everybody.
Wesley was framed.
He was. In the
They
frame
killed the
of-
wrong man.
Yeah, he goes in here.
Look at that. So we've got some lilies in there. Go back. Let's see what he's crushing here. We've got some lilies. We've got some, looks like some gladiolas. What else we have there? Maybe a bit of a delphinium there. Anyway, you shouldn't. Those are quite fragile plants, actually.
Quite fragile, like human women.
Yeah. Yeah.
This has been your plant PowerPoint presentation with Devin.
Beautiful like human women as well.
Yeah. Well, Wesley Crusher, stuntman, has killed them all, or a lot of them. Of course, Bowean wakes up here in the aftermath. Oh, sorry. And he's like, "Oh, I'm okay." They're like, "It doesn't matter. You've destroyed this fence." Oh, and no, she says, as we see the police are here, the mediators in their gray tunics and their belts with syringes on them.
I love too. They're surprised when he admits it. They're like, "You admit this?"
Yeah, I guess they would lie normally.
These kids were openly playing a game with a ball and a bat around these greenhouses. Like, what if the ball went through the glass? Like, what and smashed a couple flowers?
They can't kill you more than once, so I guess there would be that. And then Riker shows up, and as everything's kind of going down here. Your kid. It's sad that he doesn't know the laws, and it's always sad when we have to kill somebody, but them's the rules. Then Tash and Worf show up to kind of explain that this is maybe not going to be good for Wesley.
We didn't talk about the punishments, sir. What punishments?
Might have been a good follow-up question. They just assumed that they wouldn't have harsh laws or harsh punishments in their laws. So they got the syringe, and then Riker's like, "Nope." He throws Buddy to the ground with some kind of maneuver here.
Literally just the simplest push of a judo trip. This is the mighty fear of the Federation. A simple hip push judo trip and tiny little phasers. Not phasers, phasers. Little phasers. Look at those little phasers.
I was a little surprised that Worf and Tasha even had phasers when they pulled them out here because
they hit them in the cracks their asses.
Clearly.
Nobody checked.
Don't worry about this injection.
Everybody
it's nothing.
Oh yeah, they checked on this planet for phasers in your ass. Don't worry.
They just thought it was a butt plug.
Are you just happy to see me, or is that a phaser in your pocket?
Is this poison? He says. So there's this whole thing. Finally, just at this moment, Riker's able to get connection back with the ship, I think. Or no, has it happened yet? Yeah, I guess it's about to happen. Where Data
it doesn't happen until after the Wi-Fi
ball
transfer connection, is done. Data has to get the full download, and then the Wi-Fi is free for communications.
Because they called Dr. Crusher to try to treat Data, but there's nothing she can seemingly do for him.
Because she's a doctor, not a mechanic.
Machine.
Well, I don't know.
I'm a doctor, not an attentive mother.
But then the ball leaves, goes back to the Edo God thing, and then Data doesn't wake up right away. I think this is when they are finally able to talk to Picard. Yeah, Picard comes down and says, "We got a situation here with Wesley Crusher." As they show up here and they talked with
The
boy.
Yeah. That's a drinking game for this show. Every time they say the boy, take a drink.
You're not involved in this decision, boy.
Boy.
Okay. This conversation that they have with the Edo about their laws, they're like, "Well, you could just take Wesley. We can't really stop you. We'll judge him as a criminal that was out of our reach, whatever, but it's not. But if we get our things here, we will kill him, And he says, "Well, our law, I think she asked, did you ever have capital punishment?" And he says, "We used to, but we got rid of it." And the Edo guy says,
So, we are not yet as advanced as they are. An advanced person who luckily escaped the barbarism of this backward little world.
Basically.
Well, don't go to new planets if you don't, and you're not going to ask important questions about what the laws are, what the punishments are. These are things that I think.
Do they still believe in God? Maybe we shouldn't go.
All good questions. All good questions. And if you're just going to kind of go willy-nilly into that and throw caution to the wind, then I think and if you say you're going to respect cultures and laws, you're kind of in a bind here. But
I think there might be an amendment to the Prime Directive. I think it might be that if it's a sex planet, it's a go. You need to get that into the Federation immediately.
If it's a sex planet, who cares about warp?
So, Captain, we've come upon a new planet and made contact. Really? Are they warp capable? No, but they're very sexy.
They're so flexible, though. They're so flexible.
Why would these people invent warp drive? They got everything they need. They don't need to go anywhere. You know?
Yeah, they're bowing to their knees to some like celestial being that's in a space station. They definitely don't have warp capabilities, but they can put their ankles behind their head, and you're gonna love it.
They don't even seem to have things like telescopes and even much of an.
I think that was Riker's pitch right there.
So then Data wakes up, but and she calls down to Picard to say Data's up, and Picard looks at Troy, and Troy's like, maybe you should tell Dr. Crusher that they want to execute Wesley, you know, and Picard's like, oh, not yet.
Yeah, later.
Later, we'll get to it, Beverly.
And she'll get him back many years later.
But he says it. He said it in such a way. It was like he's like, not now, Doctor. He's like, he completely dismissed her. Like he could have been like, not now, bitch. Like the way he said it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So then he's like, so there's a thing up in the sky that we don't know what it is. Do you guys know what it is? She's like, do you mean God? He's like, maybe. Will you come with me and tell me if it's God? She's like, I'll come with you as a hostage for Wesley. She's like, no, you're not a hostage. I just want you to come as my guest. So Troy, Picard, and the Edo.
She's like, can we pretend I'm a hostage?
There might be
Daddy.
They beam up to the ship, and he's showing around. She's like, wow, your ship's like a big city in the sky. This is crazy. And then Beverly shows up. She's like, I just read the report. They want to execute Wesley for stepping on some flowers. You know? He's like, not now. I'm talking to the Edo woman, Doctor.
Not my petunias. They're peonies.
You know? So they're like, well, come along, honey. Let's go check out we can see everything out the window. Have you ever seen anything like this? And then she sees it. I don't like, you know, and then she immediately like bows in like kind of a praying stance, and she won't say or do anything. He's like, hey, do you recognize that? Huh? Oh yeah. She won't even speak.
Like I scream its name a lot.
She may very well, yes. And like Troy kind of talks to her like, what is it? How do you know that's a god? She's like, yeah, we've seen it before.
That's why they can't take them away. This is that alien's Pornhub.
That's got to be a short there, David. There. So yeah, because he was like that. She is my favorite performer on Pornhub. You return my child,
my precious.
My precious. As we see the God thing coming at them hard.
Just a bunch of hairy knuckles.
Like Picard thinks quick. Picard takes off his comm badge. He throws it on her, and he's like, "Transporter a beamer to the planet right away." And Joy's like, "Yeah, but hurry even faster." And they're yelling here as she gets beamed away, just in the nick of time. And then the Edo thing's like, okay, cool. But
you know, Kevin, the more I think about that, the more it actually makes sense. Like, what
it
else
really
could they
makes
possibly
so
be
much
doing
sense.
there? That's like, it actually just makes more sense than any other reason because it's what these people are doing all the time, right?
Yeah.
What other scientific research are you doing on the plants?
So I think this is this whole scene here with in the corridor with Beverly and Picard, where she's like, "Well, you can't let them kill my son. These are not civilized people, and you're not as worried about him as I am." And he goes, "I am. I'm not thrilled with the situation, and I'm not going to let him die." Or I don't think he says it there. I think he says it a little later, but I'm not going to let him do it. So then we catch up with Data here in sickbay as he's now awake and talking to Picard about things, about that the fact that the entity or whatever it is, it's not just one thing, one person. It's multiple people who live in sort of another dimension, or maybe multiple dimensions at once, and are sort of like maybe used to be more like humans in Edo, but have evolved into this other form now, which sounds interesting. And you would like to know more about them, but I guess we'll never get to. And Data explains, well, they know everything I know. Picard says, what happens if we try to violate our most sacred law, the Prime Directive? He was like, they wouldn't like it. They would consider us untrustworthy, and they might try to come out on us, right?
What do they think about the fact that we've broken it already?
Yeah, I was gonna say this
For sex, no less.
Violated, much like Riker's been.
Yes.
But they haven't destroyed them yet because they've been pleased with Riker's performance on the planet. It's injected a new vigor to the.
We really needed a new star in the cast,
You know where I come from, they call me number one.
He started showing them his Riker maneuver, and they were wowed.
Dr. Crusher is very sad with all of these jokes, and she's.
Listen, if there was an episode to crack jokes, it's this one. There's so much crack in it.
Boob crack.
Hey guys, should we make this character in the episode where they're gonna kill her son a main character in the episode? No, we wouldn't want to do that.
Sad.
No. She just gets sad and runs off.
I do tend to babble.
I'm going
Data,
home.
listen, I just need the brief wiki notes. I don't need the whole page.
Oh jeez.
Picard's contemplating what to do next. And Data comes in, and Picard has to apologize to him for yelling at him about babbling and whatever. Because he's like, only give me the main things, like the most concise answers.
What he actually says when Data walks in is more talk. After telling him to shut up.
Yeah. More
talk, Data.
Yeah.
Please organize it into brief answers to my questions.
Listen, I've had these same interactions with ChatGPT. I get it. I completely understand Picard's standpoint from here. He's like, listen, I want an answer. No, that answer's too short. Give me more.
And the Data gets not too brief with him, and he's like, if you have important information to tell me, please tell me. Whatever. So Picard trying to figure out what to do. He kind of apologizes to Data. Beverly Crusher shows up and she says, well, now that I fulfilled my duty of getting Data back to health, which she didn't really do anything, she's like, can I come down to the planet? He's like, yes, you may. Come with me, too. I'm not going to let them do anything to Wesley Crusher, which she seems happy with. And Data's left in command of the Enterprise.
Yeah, I like how in this scene Picard basically programmed Data to have a small talk. This is how you do this.
This is how it goes, Data. We know that Wesley only has till sundown before they're going to prick him with the needle. So Riker's kind of looking at the sky here.
Just
as
a little prick for a little prick.
Yeah. As Picard returns here, the Edo woman thinks Picard must be a god because he dances with the gods. I guess none of the other Enterprise crew qualify as such.
And this doesn't change their mind as to killing Wesley. Now they believe that they are gods.
Yeah. Or at least she
You'd
does.
think they'd be like, maybe we should reconsider this. We found Zeus's son.
People kill the godchild.
Picard says, nope, I'm no godchild. Okay, then they bring Wesley out. I guess is he handcuffed or something? Or has he just got his hands behind his back?
Wesley, could you wear any more brown?
No.
About this long, this thick.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa.
So, I'm trying to remember the substance of this final conversation. Well, was this where Wesley's like, so if you don't let them kill me, the Enterprise could be in danger? And he goes, you're not involved in this decision, boy.
You're not involved in this decision, boy.
I seems like I am.
Two-toned pants.
Right. Picard
That I
says,
must protect my people from harm.
We all swore.
We are all sworn not to interfere with other lives in the galaxy.
Is that true?
Apparently not.
Not in this episode.
No, there's consistent interfering. In this episode and other episodes, they're always interfering in other galaxies in some way.
Interference is kind of a
Planets.
jam sometimes. And he says, well, there's been no justice here. So Picard says, well, I guess that's that. And then they go to beam up, but they're not being allowed to. It's being blocked by the entities up in orbit. So Picard has to give a speech, right? And it's one of my favorites, actually. He says, there can be no justice as long as laws are absolute.
But the question of justice has concerned me greatly of late. And I say to any creature who may be listening, there can be no justice so long as laws are absolute. Even life itself is an exercise in exceptions.
When has justice ever been as simple as a rule book?
When has justice ever been as simple as a rule book? I don't know. I think it resonates.
Riker's just you feel the sadness in what he's saying. He's like, I'm never going to be able to come back here. And you just you feel the loss when he says that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He never forgave Wesley.
Yeah. Held that grudge forever. Made him scrub toilets for the rest of his time on the Enterprise. So then they go back to the ship, and Picard says, thank you for not letting them kill Wesley and for letting us leave and all that. And, if you want us to remove that colony we set up in the next star system, because they had established that they think that the whole star cluster is theirs, give us a sign. And they kind of just flash red, I guess, here. And that's that. And then they disappear again. And is that a sign, Jody asks? And Picard goes, I guess so. So I guess
I opened up my eyes, I saw the sign.
They would have just turned around and gone back to that colony they just set up and say, sorry, we're pulling you out. Maybe settling them somewhere else. So,
Executive producer Gene Roddenberry. Hugest
What?
supporter Gene Roddenberry. He loves this episode. Yeah.
I think the episode is decent. Sure, it's got
Best
skin.
one of the season.
Yeah. It's got some good
Best one of the
thought
season, really?
exercises and things like that. I think Beverly Crusher comes across kind of weak in the episode.
She always does. They give her
Underdeveloped.
nothing ever.
Did she choose to leave after the first season, or was she kind of fired after the first
No, she was
season?
pushed out.
She was pushed out, right?
Yeah.
And then Patrick Stewart fought to bring her back, basically, later on. Because he
The
also
whole
because he couldn't
cast did, as far as I know.
because they couldn't stand Diana Muldaur as well.
I don't know if that's the reason, but probably.
I've never heard that part. But
Apparently they all hated Diana Muldaur.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So and they're like, let's bring back
Get their
Gates.
names wrong.
Gene Roddenberry had fond memories of Diane from back in the day, I'm sure.
Well, maybe not everyone hated Diana Muldaur, but Patrick Stewart most certainly did not like her. So it's the story goes. But I think the rest of the cast in general. Anyway, so guys, that's the episode in screenshots. Do you want to get into some fun facts? We don't have Adam here, but we can get into some of the trivia here.
I don't know. Without Adam, my heart's just not in it.
I know, but I'll give you the Delta details, as they call them.
Fun fact, Wesley's never actually seen a baseball bat.
Very true.
Do you guys feel that? It's like the vibrations are increasing. Resonances are becoming tighter.
This was the first script to be commissioned for the series after the pilot episode. Due to the extensive rewrites that the story went through, however, it ended up being the 8th episode film. So I wonder how bad it really originally was. Oh, we lost Adam.
He dipped.
I've transcended, boys. Look at my name now.
It's a flesh and blood form.
I saw the koala. It was beautiful.
So one of the
It was
names,
not your time, Dad.
writer
it was not my time.
John Black used the pseudonym Ralph Willis in the credits because the televised episode bears little resemblance to his original first draft script. In his
What you
original
talking about, Willis?
The colony of Laroff installed punishment zones to fight anarchy. However, the zones are now enforced to abide the law, but only for those who are deemed not immune to them. As the Enterprise D security guard, Officer Tenson, protecting 2 children while on shore leave, happens upon a crime scene and is shot dead by the policeman Stewell, who is also killed by his partner Otip on the spot for misinterpreting his duty. In the first draft, Picard decides not to help the rebels, led by Reneg, who fight against the system of council member Trebner.
I
Finally,
don't buy any of that. Worley pitched this to Charlie's Angels, the sex planet thing, and they're just like, there's no interplanetary travel in this, Worley. We're not picking that up. And
yeah,
he's
the
just
original
like,
script, it was completely different, and eventually it became this. So they got the Charlie's Angels guy, came in, he fixed it. You know?
Explains the looks.
Right.
Yeah.
This episode was the first to feature location shots since the holodeck scene in Encounter at Farpoint. The Edo exteriors were filmed at the Tillman Water Reclamation Plant in North Los Angeles, and the section with Wesley's Falls at the Huntington Library in Pasadena. The Tillman.
It's not the Starfleet Academy location.
But it is, because they later used this Tillman plant, water treatment plant in Los Angeles, as to represent Starfleet Academy and Starfleet headquarters in later episodes. But the location is not in San Francisco that they filmed it. It's Los Angeles. The Tillman plant was right under the flight path of the Van Nuys. How do you say that? Van Nuys. Van Nuys Municipal Airport, which meant that the airplanes were constantly flying overhead of the actors. The entire scenes were filmed, had to be redubbed in post-production. So maybe that's why. Maybe that's why some of the scenes do sound a little off, especially with Wesley.
About this long, this thick.
Right. And Liz.
I'm with Starfleet. We don't lie.
Oh God.
We don't.
The Edo God model was later reused as the listen.
He's right. He's with Starfleet. He's not in Starfleet.
He's with them. The statue seen in the corridor outside the Starboard Lounge was previously seen in Deanna Troy's quarters in the episode The Naked Now. The guitar-like instrument, which you guys thought was a sword.
You can call it a sword.
Used by one of the Edo bears, a striking resemblance to Adam's guitar as seen in the original series episode The Way to Eden.
He played a guitar too? Or are they talking about the harp one?
Well, whatever that guy Adam plays in The Way to Eden, it's the same thing. It's a very similar looking instrument. So this marks the first of the 4 times the captain shows a native female from her home planet from orbit. This happens again in Nuria in Who Watches the Watchers, Marasta Yale in First Contact, and Lily Sloan in Star Trek First Contact.
Lily's the best.
This approach clearly has meaning to Picard as he tells Anij in Star Trek Insurrection, seeing his home planet from space for the first time was a moment where time stood still. So this
what
is
did
Picard's
he say to
move.
Anij? What is this long and about this thick?
A window.
I mean, it's what bigger flex is there in the universe than come to my spaceship and look at your tiny little planet?
Look at your god from my window.
Batman had his car. Star Trek, Picard had his starship. So.
That's Picard. This is I never really thought about it, but this is what Picard does love to do. Yeah. It also marks the first time the captain is believed to be a god by the native inhabitants of a pre-warp civilization. The other time is in Who Watches the Watchers,
which is a better episode than this.
Yeah, I agree. The Prime Directive is violated by Captain Picard by interfering in the Edo's judicial system. This was referenced by Lieutenant Commander Dexter Remick in the later season 1 episode Coming of Age. Additionally, pre-warp civilizations are normally off limits. Yet, Picard states in the opening that they discovered the planet Edo only just now. It is never explained on what basis they are permitted to contact the planet to begin with. Later episodes such as Who Watches the Watchers and First Contact explain that the prohibition on contact with primitive civilizations is unequivocal. So you can't. So why they did this?
Why are they there?
I'll tell you why they did this. Riker was searching the old space feeds and he came across this YouTube or this Pornhub channel and he was like, "Looks like an interesting planet to visit. I wonder what they do."
We need shore leave. But there's
Riker's like, I want to be a star.
Captain, these other creepers have already been down there. It's too late.
I've got a few maneuvers to show them.
Riker says to Worf, "When in Rome," when they are running with the with the Ito guys earlier in the
Where's
episode.
Rome?
9 years later, Julian Bashir would say the same thing to Worf during their trip to Risa in "Let He Is Who Is Without Sin."
I think
Jonathan-
when he said that, Worf replied, he was like, "What is Rome?"
In this episode, he says, when in where, sir?" And then Jonathan Archer also said, "When in Rome," to Paul, who did not understand the reference while hosting a Tellarite delegation on 210 earlier in Babel 1. And this episode bears a resemblance to the original series episode, The Apple, in that they both involve a starship coming into contact with an Eden-like planet under the direction of God-like machine. And this is the first time that Data takes the helm when Picard and Riker are away. We even see him in the chair at the very end of the episode. And those are your details and your trivias. Anything else in the comments? Did Davin get a haircut is the question.
Yep. Took a few inches off, that's for sure.
Just a few inches off the top.
It
was aggressive. Okay. Sorry, guys.
But in my case, it's more like off the bottom.
Off the bottom, yes.
Does your head feel lighter?
Okay, guys.
No.
Let's get the ratings going here. Sorry, took me a second to pull it up. Okay, so we are on to Justice, everybody. I'll go first. I think this is a pretty good episode, even though it's not a perfect one. I'm giving it an 8.
Wow.
6.
6 from Kevin. Murph.
6.9.
Okay.
I see what you did there.
Damn it! I wish I'd thought that.
I don't do decimals, or I would have. I'll give it a 6.
Okay. So I'm the high vote.
Actually,
Averaging...
what did I do? But I gave what one is where no one has gone before?
You gave
was
it
that
6
one
as well.
again? Yeah, what was that one again?
The Traveler.
Oh Jesus! Yeah,
Oh,
it's about as
the
good as
Wesley
that.
grooming
Yeah.
episode.
6 works. Yeah.
Kevin, do you want to rate where no one has gone before?
Among Us.
I find that one pretty boring. I think 4.
All right.
I'll give a 4 to Lonely Among Us.
All right. Yeah, that sounds right. I give it a 4.9. Oh, did you watch Lonely Among Us, Kevin?
4.9.
No.
I see what
Which
you
one is
did
it?
there.
It's the one with the... I don't know. It's got the dog people and the lizard people. And they're...
I'll give that a 2. That sucks.
Yeah, it sucks.
All right, so we're averaging a 6.7 tonight. This has a 6 on IMDb, so again, it seems like the public is mostly with us on that. And we kind of talked about all the credits here. So the next episode, guys, is The Battle, which is the one with Picard and the Ferengi guy.
Damon Bach.
Where we learned about the Picard maneuver and all that, and Damon Bach and all that.
We
stuff.
just learned about the Riker maneuver.
Yeah, and we even get to see the Stargazer in the next episode as they bring that one into the mix. Trying to remember who signed up for that one. Let me look. So far only me and Jody are signed up for that episode. So if anyone else wants to throw their hat into that ring or drop the hat,
I'll drop a hat in that ring. Just remind me like the morning of.
Okay, Murphy's in. All right. The battle, and then we get hide and Q after that, which I'm excited for. So anyway, so that's that. I think that's it for tonight. Unless I've forgotten anything else about Justice, but yeah, I like this episode. I think obviously more than you guys do.
Just because of
the
the
ratings
running.
would reflect that.
Not just because I'm on soon.
Patience, grasshopper.
Only after hours.
Yeah.
On D-Bait 9, it's before hours, I insist.
Well, speaking of Debate 9, I was just on Debate 9 with Heather and Jessica on Friday with Davin hosting.
Comported yourself well. It was an all-time great episode.
It was a fun one. We was a lot of laughing going on, so that was enjoyable. It did spur an idea, Davin, where you have an idea for a Live Long and Podcast Olympics of sorts.
I do.
Where we bring out the
But it's going to be hard to convince everybody. We'll see how it goes. We might need to bring in challengers from outside the Federation.
You gotta lay out like the whole spiel, like the rules, exactly what it's gonna be, how it's gonna be. Like it's gonna be a whole thing. I need to understand.
Dave can run with a torch.
I can run. If there's a running competition, I'll
I
represent.
told Murphy he could recruit someone for the yellow shirts because they seem a little outmatched at the moment.
I need to know more about this before I can say yes or no to any of this. It's a novel concept.
Murphy, you're like the leader of that division. Like
he is.
You gotta help. You gotta get the team going here. You got Jessica. You got Michael. You got Mott.
You got Jane.
You got Jane.
Jeff Mader.
Jeff Mader.
What are we doing? This is what I need to know.
Yeah, come
what
on.
What are we doing?
We're doing something.
We'll figure it out.
There'll be a trivia. There will be, maybe a debate, maybe a physical competition, maybe the trials to Kalhaya, all kinds of things. Maybe all of Davin's shows in combined into one.
It's basically that, yeah.
Right.
It's basically how can I
We'll fight to the death, a mock time style.
Yeah. How can I inflict the geek toll onto everybody?
This has to happen. I love the idea of it. I'm fully
Let's iron out the details and figure this out a bit, shall we?
Let's do that. Okay. Well, speaking of our other shows, she's blind. Not long ago, we wrapped up Star Trek Discovery season 5 and the whole series. Go check our reviews there if you're still catching up on that. Of course, on Monday nights we have the Orville reviewing every episode. We just did what was the one we did last night?
Wasn't it the
I don't
Krill?
remember the name of it.
The Krill. We did Krill last night.
Yeah.
And we're doing the next one we're doing is called Majority Rules. So it's also a fun episode. So look at that. We'll be back in a week here to talk about the battle on the Next Generation podcast. This Thursday, I'll be on with Davin and Murphy and Jessica to talk about Star Trek Prodigy.
I gotta watch those episodes. Jeez.
Yeah,
you
episodes.
do.
We'll be talking about episodes 6 through 10. As we're doing batches of 5 in these podcasts. So we've already covered the first 5 episodes. If you want to hear our thoughts on those, go check out that and look out for the next
If you love Star Trek, invest the time to watch Prodigy. Yes, it's a kid's show. Who cares? It is one of the best Star Treks going. Watch it.
Are you convinced, Kevin?
I have been watching it, so yeah.
You're watching it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Ashley who refuses to watch it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll convince her.
Good luck.
Okay.
He's like, good luck with that, pal.
And I think those are all the things to plug here on Live Long right now. Of course, you'll check out everything on the United Federation of Podcasts, which you can learn all about in a little trailer at the end.
Go back and check out our interview recently with Dayton Ward. He's a cool guy.
Oh yeah, our first contact with Dana Ward.
Yeah,
So
that was fun.
lots of great things out here. We'll leave you guys with a clip as we head off for tonight. And thanks for being with us here, guys. We'll appreciate the whole panel, and we'll see you next time.
The Edo want to execute my son. I will not allow that to happen, Jean-Luc.
Most interesting, sir. The emotion of motherhood is compared to all others felt by...
Shut up!
You were right, sir. I do tend to babble.
Beam up some Star Trek content with Live Long and Podcast. Tune in to X-Rated, the X-Men animated review show. Artistic interviews with graphic histories. A roundtable movie discussion with Hey, did you see this one? And movie reviews with Hold Up, a movie podcast. And while you're at it, spin a few records with Eamon on Track. Watch us duke it out on trivial debates. And let's chat about TV with the Super Mater Brothers. It's all here on the United Federation of Podcasts.